2020 Nations Cup was one where we were, coming off from third of the World Cup, and after that you also have to realize that you needed to replace players that were retired. So I think for us it was quite a good performance, although we have some areas to improve on. We had some areas to improve on. And for my performance, I think I was happy on when I came on court. I did the best that I could. I quite enjoyed the experience of it as well. So at that point, we heard about what was happening with COVID, and it was coming into the UK as well. And at that time, they were still deciding whether we could continue with one more game that we had around the time that they announced that there was going to be a lockdown. But obviously then things had to be stopped, the league had to be stopped, and that's where at that period of time it had to be decided whether they were still going to have a solution in terms of when they can continue again, or how long it would be before they continue. So we're still in the dark around that time, and we were not certain of what was going to happen then. Yeah. So at that time I was still in Scotland when lockdown happened, but I managed to get a flight home. And I was there obviously quarantined in Johannesburg before I went home to my family in the Eastern Cape. And during that time, of course, we still did continue with some of the programs, and obviously as the team I was playing for, Strathclyde Sirens, we kept ourselves entertained through some of the trainings that we involved ourselves in when we had it on a weekly basis, and we also got together at times on how we are all doing and what is happening and any updates about how the league is going to continue on. But at that time we all had news that it was definitely cancelled for that year. So the training regime was pretty much where the only time we were allowed to be training was according to the government regulations on lockdown. So you could still jog, you could still do a couple of things. I think that's when you had levels of lockdown with allowance of having to train. So you pretty much trained on your own for most of the period up until we were allowed to train together as a team, I think around September. I did have a couple of challenges in terms of logistically being affiliated with the team, but that we were able to solve that especially in terms of where I needed to play and where my location is at the time. So being with the Fireballs always has been a really good experience. I've been with them from 2017 as well. So it was pretty much easy for me to join them again. And the experience itself has been really good. The camaraderie amongst the players and the management has been quite good as well. And it is, we do have a bit of challenge here and there within ourselves, but that's to be expected, and as a team we are able to overcome those challenges. Well, our whole mandate was obviously to win the TNL trophy, which we were really aiming to go for as well. And obviously nothing's going to go perfect. We know that we've got tough teams coming along, but that was the main goal for us. I wanted to win the TNL and bring the trophy to Fireballs. Well, coming from the previous year of what Fireballs was experiencing to a bronze, that is a good thing. We can't take that away. That's something that we wanted to do, and I think for a few players or few people, or from player and management who have experienced the previous year of TNL and not a good one. I think getting to that bronze medal, especially fourth, was actually quite a good feeling to have as well. But as for us wanting to really improve and actually take ourselves to, you know, the top or getting ourselves to a gold medal match, I think, we still look in and think, well, we would have done better. But at the same time, you've got good teams that want the same thing. So at that time, we were into our second round of playing the league. And yeah, unfortunately, at that time, I think we're playing against Jaguars was the time I got an injury to it. And going down with that injury, I didn't really think much of it because I knew there was something wrong, and I had to come off immediately to have it assessed. So it was quite quite a strange experience for me as well, because that is the first major injury I've ever experienced. Oof. Mentally, it was really hard. I think once I got back to Joburg and had my scans done, um, it was confirmed of a rupture on my anterior cruciate ligament, which was, I think, one of the hardest things that's you have to just think of, because the season that you are going to continue in the UK, it's not going to be there any longer. So that was really tough to take in, and also it's really, for any player, I guess it's really hard to just take in, and looking at the road ahead, which is going to be quite a long one. But you have to do what you have to do at the end of the day. It's something as a player that you would do if you want to continue getting back into playing. This is what you have to do, and that's how I'm able to overcome that mental challenge. And it's something that if you know you need to get back into playing, or even just wanting to be active, this is what you have to do, and I think that's what keeps me going. When I got my results from the doctor, it was over a phone call actually. So it was after that phone call, I pretty much had a bit of a really tough moment. Mm-hmm. I basically just I looked, I saw red and I looked around my room and I made a mess because I pretty much trashed everything in my room. Okay. Out of anger. So that's just one of the moments I'd like to forget. But at the same time, it's understandable for someone to feel like that as well, because it's not something that you're used to. Yeah, it doesn't really happen all the time, but I mean, injuries are a part of sport. And you have to plan ahead on what else can happen in terms of rehabilitation, and getting advice from the doctors, and getting in touch with the physiotherapist after the surgery as well, and scheduling the surgery, and then from then on what the planning is as well. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I've been going to Linksfield Sports Rehabilitation Center, and it's been really amazing. I mean, the people I work with, they're really amazing as well, and I feel that I am getting a bit stronger each day. So it is quite it can be a slow progress, but slow can be good, especially. So it might take longer than the usual period of time that I'm needed to go back to court. But I'm into running now, and also just a bit of agility, and also explosive power as well. So just being involved in those things, I think now it's really almost back to normal for me. Instead of the usual just strength and repetitive stuff that you have to do, which is really important as well. And I think it's really been great so far. I'm getting to learn a lot about myself as well in the process. I'm one of the people, I guess, who gets to be, I'm quite independent about what I do, but at the same time we do need the support and the affirmation of other people in terms of the positive vibes that they can give, and I think it's been really helpful so far. And at the time I was from the hospital, I've had, one of my sisters, Umampo, has been really supportive, and in terms of how I'm recovering and stuff. So and there are times when with weeks with post operation that I'm not used to sitting around, so I'm used to just working and stuff. So I think just to take my mind off things, I started to do that. And of course, getting to visit family, I think that made it also better in terms of that. So yeah, a few months into it, I was doing okay as well. So I think it's just really important to have that type of support surrounding you as well, and in terms of getting that positive vibe mentally, getting out. It's really important. I don't think we see enough girls coming from schools that are maybe less advantaged, um, that are coming into that program. I would love to see that happen as well. But I think with the introduction of the multi-choice or DStv rather challenge is it's really a good start, I guess, um, to get more exposure on schools netball and how they perform on the schools level as well. And it doesn't have to be in one place. It can be different places, different provinces. I think getting them involved more in terms of competing at schools level as well, and getting opportunities for other girls, that would be a really great thing to have as well. So I think the only thing is that we need to be more accessible towards schools with girls that are really ambitious and wanting to be involved in these channels, that we want to expose them to a whole lot more than just them being there, and not really giving them the whole platform in terms of how they can perform against maybe more advantaged schools, or on a more public platform. I think it's been really good with the Malawi series. You obviously had more experienced players there. They were still there, so that pretty much was, I think, a very very good time with the Proteas winning the overall series. And then with the next series, Uganda and Namibia.
Yeah.
I think with new players coming in, I think it gives them a chance to, for coaches and selectors to see, how they fare overall in the international competition. So obviously, then you will have maybe some of the inexperienced players there, but also experienced players that were there as well to help them along. And I think it's really been I guess it's a good assessment overall in terms of how they are performing. And it can only get better with more exposure for players, new players coming into that into the team as well. So it's always good to see how players are actually performing on the international stage, especially new players. And it doesn't have to be some of the same players that have been there for a while. That's also up to the selectors, and how they see the players and how they're progressing. So I'm not gonna try and get myself focused only on that. I'm gonna focus on getting back to play and doing the best that I can. Yeah, but I'd love to see myself back in the green and gold someday.